Greetings, YouTube. My wife and I watched the independent science fiction thriller Attack the Block last night, and I'm going to do a review today. This is going to be full of spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this. You want to see this without knowing anything about it. You will spoil the fun for yourself if you see a review ahead of time. All I saw about the film was that it was good. There's a couple of clips I picked up along the way, which didn't completely spoil the film for me, and I'm glad of that. So, please, if you haven't seen it, and I recommend you do, go watch it first. Okay, for those that are sticking around, you either don't care if it's spoiled or you've already seen it. Congratulations, you made a good choice. This is a great monster movie, and that's what this film is. This is not a real science fiction film. While there is some internal consistency, there isn't a lot of science in this fiction. I can't even call it speculative fiction. Mostly, it's the idea of, what if we take natural animal behaviors, slap them on a race that's utterly fantastical, be consistent about it, treat them as animals, and then release them into a modern setting. And of course, you have to have a modern setting to release them into, and the modern setting they choose are the low-income housing towers of London, the slums, the ghettos, the place where no one cares about. The cops don't like to go there. The people who can afford it put bars on their doors and windows. It's not a pleasant place to live. But it's where people have to live because they have no choice. And it's a mishmash, a pleasant mishmash, of ethnicities and racial backgrounds and skin colors, which I thought was very pleasant. In the United States, I think that this film would have been a lot either blacker or whiter. It would have been as mixed, which would have been a pity, because part of the texture of this film, the authenticity it gave me when I viewed it, was very much its racial mix of people. It was all about that poor is not a racial thing, poor is a class thing. Now, the film starts out with a bang, and I mean literally. The first scene is a woman being mugged, and the gang mugging her, unknown to her. She thinks they're teenagers. They are teenagers, but they're just barely teenagers. And as soon as they are about to finish their conquest of this woman, stripping her of her possessions, literally, an alien falls out of the sky. And that's where the action starts. And our main character in the film is Moses. Not only does he lead our little gang of thugs, but he is a true stoic. And I don't just mean that in the sense that he's strong character with character, an individual who has a code. He's a stoic in the sense that he doesn't know this, but he follows the stoic code of philosophy. And when the attack happens, he gets attacked, and he makes the comment that this is our block. Very shortly, we're introduced to the gang leader, a thug, a real thug, an adult, who runs the drugs in this neighborhood, in this block, in this tower they live in. And he's a real life bad guy. And his comment was, "This is my block." And there you have the difference. You have someone that is taking possession because he has the authority through violence and money to do so, and you have Moses taking possession of the block by taking responsibility for the block. And once he finds out later in the film that the woman he mugged, a nurse named Sam, is one of them, that she lives there, that she's just as poor as they are, he feels remorse. Because if I had known you were one of us, I wouldn't have touched you. And when at the end of the film, he discovers that because he killed this initial alien, it's a small alien, about 3 feet tall, 3 or 4 feet tall. The woman that did the stunt work for it is a little person, and the suit looked great on her that she wore, but it must have been incredibly difficult to do because it was a form-fitting, heavy-duty suit. It weighed literally half as much as her own body weight. they were able to kill this thing without too much difficulty. And when they did so, they very much had this tribal gang response. And my wife looked at it and looked at me and said, a very cogent comment. She said, "We got some real Lord of the Flies stuff going on here, don't we?" And it was about the coming together of this as a tribal group. And when he presents this thing to the other youths of the tower as he goes to store it somewhere, this dead thing, one of the girls in the periphery of this gang's relationships, cousin, I think, of someone, is impressed by that, but the fact that he encountered it, it attacked him, he went after it, he killed it. There's very much a tribal vibe here, and it's really well done. And in the final scene of the film, Moses takes final responsibility for this. He's come to realize that because he killed this thing, because he's been carrying around its chemical scent on his body, because these aliens hunt by smell, and he is the one that's been dragging these aliens after him and been bringing death and destruction to his block. And that it is his responsibility, no one else's, to take these things out. And if he can't take them out, he's willing to die to do so. And that's a stoic. That's someone who has decided that even though he is an anti-hero in many ways, he's willing to step up to the plate, and he is willing to give his life, put his life on the line. That makes him a hero. That makes him a leader. That makes someone that the people of his tower, of his block, the social structure that he is from, can look up to him and respect him, even though he's only 15. There are also a number of really pleasant, subtle comments throughout the film about family and about classism. There's only one known character in this entire film, and that's Nick Frost from Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. He's playing a drug dealer, low-level kind of drug dealer kind of guy, the guy that runs the day-to-day business as opposed to the person that's in control of it. And it was very pleasant to see him there. He did it very well, a very good job, and he brought a connection to overall British film for me, which I quite liked. The aliens were very well done. They were done so that they had a Fulligan black. Anyone who gets that reference of Fulligan black, you get a gold star. Their fur was light absorbing. You couldn't totally black. So they were almost like outlines, and all you saw on them was their teeth, and they glowed blue while they lived. So their mouths would be closed, and to see these very, very, very thin blue lines of their teeth showing, and then they'd open their maws like this, like a Tasmanian devil, like a snake, and they were just huge, and their teeth glowed blue, and when they died, the bioluminescence faded, which I thought was a nice touch. There was two guys doing for the film. I watched the little creature feature at the end, and this DVD is full of wonderful features. The trailer, information about the gang, 3 commentary tracks. I didn't listen to any of those yet. And a creature feature, which all about the work they did, real stunt work. They did create digital copies of the guys that did the stunt work to fill out more aliens, but the real stuntmen, guys in suits using their bodies, doing their heavy duty stunt stuff. These suits were big and bulky, and they were running around in the middle of the night in freezing weather and pouring sweat off their body because these things were so difficult to use. And it was beautifully done. It really was. I was very impressed because it had that man in suit vibe that makes that the Japanese films made so famous back in the 60s and 70s. And it was a lot of fun. It was a great monster movie. Again, there's no sense. These things fall into the sky, they should be dead. There should be no way, shape, or form that aliens fall out of the sky that can survive. Okay? They just can't. Alright? The fact that they do doesn't matter. It doesn't. In fact, the one thing in this that I found the most unbelievable for me in this entire film, is that the last scene of the film, Moses has a sword in his hand. He's actually gotten quite good with the sword during the course of the film. And he sheathed it on his back. Just takes it like this and goes... That's impossible. I don't know any living human being in the history of humanity that has ever been able to sheathe a sword one-handed with a sheath on his back. To me, that was the most unbelievable thing in this film. The aliens, I waved the aliens. They were awesome. It was a monster movie. I ignored the fact that they were falling out of the sky onto the ground and not dying. But the guy the guy successfully sheathing a sword without looking at it, yeah, that was impossible. I know, I'm crazy. But remember, my nickname is a Japanese weapon. I'm into this kind of thing. So, go out there, man. Watch this movie. Look at the extras. I'm going to watch it again because I want to listen to those commentary tracks. I mean, what independent film gives you 3 commentary tracks? This is an awesome bit of independent filmmaking. I am so glad that they produced it. $13 million budget, and this thing looks much better than $13 million bucks, man. I'm serious. They did an excellent job with this. Every dime is on that film. It looks beautiful. So it was a great film. I had a great time. Go watch it.